Year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
No, they are.
Who's that?
I'm hurt.
They are. Like, yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are.
I need to get in the. I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meeting.
need to get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefit.
So we're supposed to believe Angel Reese's jersey sold out in 2 minutes? Like, not even time to blink. Click, add to cart, and boom. Gone? Nah, come on. And it wasn't just her. Suddenly, every player's jersey magically disappears. At the same time, players you never hear about trending, somehow selling out faster than a PS5 on launch day? Listen, I'm not knocking Angel. She's a star, no doubt. But if you think all this happened naturally, I got some oceanfront property in Nebraska to sell you. Something real fishy is going on here. And once we break it down, you're gonna see exactly what I mean. Because when we start digging into the timing, the headlines, and who actually benefits from this sellout story, it's not just questionable. It might be one of the wildest marketing plays we've seen in women's sports, ever. Let's get into it. All right, let's rewind this whole thing for a second, just so we're all on the same page. So here's what went down. A few days ago, the new unrivaled women's basketball league finally dropped their first official merch line, jerseys for wildest. Their star players went up on the site. You had big names like Angel Reese, Chelsea Gray, Natasha Cloud, Brittany Griner, and a few others all in the mix. It was hyped up on social media, lots of people were talking about it, and fans were ready. Now Angel Reese, she's been one of the most talked about names in women's basketball lately. Former LSU star just made her WNBA debut, millions of followers, big brand deals, the whole nine. So yeah, naturally people expected her jersey to move. But then things got weird. According to the reports, and this is where it starts to sound like a scripted movie, Angel Reese's jersey didn't just sell well. It sold out in literally 2 minutes. Like, by the time you click the link, it's gone. And that's not even the craziest part, because right after that, media outlets, I'm talking full articles, polished headlines, were already posted saying her jersey was sold out. Now pause. Let's think about that. The jerseys drop at 10:04 p.m. Eastern, and by 10:08, there's already full-on coverage online, as in, someone supposedly tracked the sales in real time, confirmed the sellout, wrote the article, edited it, uploaded it, and published it, all in 4 minutes? Come on, man. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Even if the jerseys did sell fast, and again, we'll get into why that's sketchy in a minute, the timing of the coverage alone raises eyebrows. It wasn't just one article either. Multiple outlets had the same story, with the same headlines, around the same time. It felt pre-written, like it was all part of a perfectly coordinated rollout, not a natural response to fan demand. And that's when people online started saying, yo, hold up, something ain't right. Fans started questioning how fast it sold. People who were literally sitting on the site, ready to cop the second it dropped, were like, wait, what? How's it already sold out? I refreshed the page and it was gone. It was chaos, but not the normal kind. So now the big question is, was this real demand? Or was this just the beginning of a masterclass in marketing smoke and mirrors? Because trust me, the deeper we dig into the timeline, the numbers, and what really went down behind the scenes, the more this whole thing starts to look less like a sellout and more like a setup. Now let's really talk about these numbers, because once you break them down, none of this makes sense. Like, at all. We're being told that Angel Reese's jersey sold out in 2 minutes, right? But here's the thing. What does sold out actually mean? Are we talking 10,000 jerseys? 1,000? 50? That's the piece nobody's talking about. How many were even available to begin with? Because without knowing the actual inventory numbers, that sold out headline doesn't mean much. You could have printed 12 jerseys and said, they sold out in 90 seconds. And technically you wouldn't be lying, but it would absolutely be misleading. And based on how fast this happened, plus the fact that multiple players' jerseys sold out at the same time, that's exactly what this looks like. Manufactured hype. Let's dig into the timeline again. The jerseys dropped at 10:04 p.m., and by 10:08 p.m. the media stories were already live. And I'm not talking a tweet. I'm talking full articles, formatted and published on big sports outlets. Bro, that's not possible without coordination. Think about what it takes to write and post an article. Someone has to check inventory, get a statement, write the copy, get it edited, approved, then published. That doesn't happen in 4 minutes. Unless the article was already written before the drop even happened. And if it was pre-written, well, now we're talking about a planned narrative, not a genuine event. And here's where it gets even more wild. People who were ready, like actually sitting at their computers, refreshing the unrivaled site. Say that as soon as the page loaded, Angel's jersey was already gone. No lag, no delay, no only a few left banner, just sold out. You mean to tell me that hundreds or thousands of people all somehow beat the system, checked out, successfully, and cleared inventory in seconds with zero website issues? Come on. If that many people were rushing the site, there would have been crashes, bugs, complaints, Twitter meltdowns, all the usual chaos we see during real high-demand drops. But there was none of that. Just smooth, clean, and suspiciously perfect. Then, just like that, Natasha Cloud, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, all their jerseys sold out too, at the same time. And no shade, but let's keep it real. Those players don't have the same level of hype or social media following as Angel Reese. So how are they all selling out at the exact same second? It doesn't track. It doesn't happen like that. Not in real consumer markets. If you've ever seen how demand works during a sneaker drop or new iPhone launch, you know what I'm talking about. The most popular items sell out first. The less hyped ones, they sit around for a while. That's normal. This is way too clean, way too smooth, and way too fast. It's like someone hit a button and decided, all right, we're gonna say they all sold out now. Like a movie script where the scene plays out exactly how it's supposed to. No surprises, no glitches. So, either Unrivaled pulled off the cleanest, fastest, most efficient merch drop in history, or they finessed the game to make it look like something it wasn't. And based on the numbers, or the lack of numbers, I'm leaning heavily toward the second one. All right, so now that we've laid out how the numbers don't really add up, let's talk about why this might have gone down the way it did. Because listen, this whole 2-minute sellout thing, it's starting to look less like a natural surge in demand, and more like a calculated move, a play straight out of the marketing playbook. And if you know anything about artificial scarcity, you already know how this game is played. See, when you want to create hype, especially for a brand or product that doesn't have mainstream clout yet, you don't flood the market. Nah, you do the opposite. You drop a super limited amount, just enough to say we sold out, and boom, now everybody's talking. It's not about actual sales volume, it's about the headline. Angel Reese jersey sells out in 2 minutes. That sounds huge. It sounds like momentum. It sounds like the unrivaled league is booming. But if you only made, let's say, 50 jerseys, did you really achieve anything other than making it look like demand was crazy? That's the formula, and it works. Sneaker brands like Nike do this all the time with collabs, and they drop like 500 pairs, the site crashes, everything's gone in seconds, and suddenly the product is trending everywhere. Only difference? Nike has the demand to back it up. They don't need to fake the numbers. But Unrivaled, they're a brand new league. Their viewership numbers are still struggling. They're trying to carve out attention in a crowded sports market. So a big flashy headline like every jersey sold out instantly gives the illusion that this league is poppin', even if the actual sales were light. And honestly, it mirrors a classic tactic we've seen in everything from music to tech drops. Limit the supply, build tension, announce the sellout immediately. Let the internet carry the buzz for free. Meanwhile, nobody's asking how many units were available in the first place. And here's the thing, you don't need thousands of sales to do this. You just need the right number of products and a plan to control the narrative. That's what this looks like. A rollout, a strategy, something that was coordinated and polished, not a random surge of fans crashing the site out of nowhere. Because if this was truly organic, if the demand was that real, we'd see it in the mess. Glitches, failed transactions, people posting receipts, screenshots of their orders, unboxing videos, jerseys on doorsteps, but we don't see that. What we see instead is a wave of people saying, wait, how is it already gone? It's textbook artificial scarcity. You release a small number of products, you let them sell out fast, you use the sellout as a marketing moment, then you sit back and let the social media buzz do the rest. So yeah, the jersey probably did sell out in 2 minutes, but that doesn't mean it was because of overwhelming demand. It probably just means there weren't that many to begin with. And if that's the case, this isn't about sales, it's about perception. And Unrivaled played that game very well. Now look, if there's one person who's been around the women's game long enough to smell something fishy, it's Cheryl Swoops. We're talking about a WNBA legend here, a pioneer, Hall of Famer. She's seen every era of women's hoops, from the grinded out days to today's influencer-driven spotlight. So when she starts raising an eyebrow at this jersey saga, you already know it's deeper than just fan chatter. Now, depending on where you were online, you might have seen Cheryl making subtle, or not so subtle, lost comments about the whole Unrivaled situation. She didn't name names at first, but she made it clear she wasn't buying the hype. And honestly, can you blame her? When you've put in decades building credibility in this sport, And then you see headlines being pushed about record-breaking sales from a league that's barely launched, while players are still waiting on promised $50,000 bonuses. Yeah, that'll rub a vet the wrong way. At one point, Cheryl even posted something like, "I've been in this game a long time, and trust me, real hype doesn't look like this." That might seem like a throwaway comment to some people, but in the basketball world, that's basically her saying, y'all are playing yourselves. And what's crazy is, she's not the only one thinking it. There's a quiet tension happening right now between the OGs who built the game from the ground up and the new wave trying to build it through marketing and social media optics. And this jersey stunt, it just turned that quiet tension into a full-blown side-eye from people like Swoops, who've earned their place in the culture without needing smoke and mirrors. Let's not forget, Cheryl Swoops played in front of packed arenas before Instagram was even a thing. She didn't need viral moments. She had real ones. So when someone like her says, yo, these numbers don't make sense, we gotta pay attention. Because if the vets are calling cap, and the fans are calling cap, and the math is calling cap, then maybe, just maybe, it's cap. And here's where it gets messy, because now Cheryl's speaking up, fans are frustrated and the league hasn't offered any transparency. No statements, no inventory numbers, no clarifications, just vibes. And when the only thing holding up your hype is vibes, that's when the cracks start to show. So now we've got one of the most respected voices in the game casting doubt, fans asking questions, and a league staying quiet. That ain't a good look, and it's only gonna get worse when we show you what real fans were saying during the drop. Because trust me, it wasn't celebration, it was confusion. Now let's keep it all the way real, because while the headlines were celebrating, the actual fans, yeah, they were straight up confused and frustrated. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, it didn't matter where you looked, people were all saying the same thing. I was there the second the site went live, and I still couldn't get a jersey? Bro, how is Angel Reese's jersey already gone? I clicked the link the moment it dropped. I've been waiting all week for this. 2 minutes? This gotta be a joke. Like, imagine being a diehard fan waiting for that drop, refreshing the page, ready with your card info, and then boom, sold out. No warning, no countdown, just nothing left. People were actually heartbroken out here. There were folks saying, I'm gonna cry, I really wanted Angel's jersey. And another fan literally begged Unrivaled to restock it, writing, please at Unrivaled WBB, let me get just one. I was there right at the drop. That ain't fake. That's not clout chasing. That's real disappointment from people who genuinely supported Angel in the league. They were ready to spend money, but felt like the whole thing was rigged. And the craziest part? Nobody, and I mean nobody, was posting proof that they even got one. Usually when something sells out this fast, people are flexing. You see screenshots of confirmation emails, IG stories of checkout pages, TikToks with I copped captions. You know how social media works. People love showing off a W, but with this drop, silence. No posts, no receipts, no look what, just came in the mail videos. Not even a fuzzy screenshot of a successful purchase. Just frustration and confusion, and that silence says a lot, because if something really sells out, the internet doesn't go quiet, it goes crazy. People brag, people gloat, people flip the items on eBay, but instead of flexes, we got fans feeling played. So yeah, maybe Angel's jersey did sell out in 2 minutes, but if nobody can buy it, nobody's wearing it, and nobody's posting it, did it really sell out? Or was it just set up to look that way? All I'm saying is, the fans showed up ready, but the jerseys, they were barely there, and now people are left wondering if they were ever supposed to get one at all. Alright, so let's talk about what's not being talked about enough. The part that really exposes whether this whole thing was real or just smoke and mirrors. Where's the proof? No, seriously, where's the social proof? Because in 2025, when anything sells out in seconds, you already know what happens next. It's all over social media. People post their order confirmations. They flex their shipping emails. They record unboxing videos. They tag the brand, the athlete, everything. But this Angel Reese jersey drop that supposedly broke records? Bro, crickets. No screenshots of successful checkouts. No fans showing their jerseys arriving in the mail. No. Hype videos on TikTok like, yes, I finally got one. Nothing. And that's weird because Angel's fan base is loyal. She's got millions of followers across her platforms. You're telling me not one of them posted about getting the jersey? Not one tweet, IG story, YouTube short? Come on, that's you. Not just suspicious. It's straight up unnatural. Because real hype leaves a trail. When Beyoncé tickets drop, you see screenshots for days. When Travis Scott drops new kicks, TikTok is flooded with unboxings. Even mid-tier influencers have fans posting their merch. That's what genuine demand looks like. It creates noise. But this drop? The only noise was from the people who missed out, not from people who scored. That's a massive red flag. And look, if thousands of people had actually bought these jerseys in that short window, the internet would have been loud about it. Unboxing vids, mirror selfies, game day fit pics. But instead, we got nothing but confusion and, let's be real, a little embarrassment from fans who feel like they got played. So now you gotta ask yourself, if the jerseys truly sold out, who got them? Where are they? Why haven't we seen a single person rocking one in public or even posting online? It's almost like the sellout wasn't about selling to fans. It was about selling a story, a headline. Look how fast we sold out, even if nobody actually got the product. Because when there's no trail, no buzz, no receipts, it's not a community moment. It's a PR move, a press release wrapped in hype, pushed out to make it seem like something huge just happened, when in reality it might have been a handful of units disappearing into thin air. And the longer this silence lasts, the louder it gets. Now here's where the whole situation goes from, oh, that's kind of weird to, oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Because while everyone's out here hyping up these jersey sales like Unrivaled just pulled off the marketing miracle of the year behind the scenes, this league is low-key struggling, and not just with viewership. Let's start with this. Multiple reports say Unrivaled hasn't even paid players the $50,000 bonuses they promised. You heard that right. Players, including the very ones whose jerseys allegedly sold out in minutes, are still waiting on checks that were supposed to have been cut months ago. Now think about that. A league that's out here claiming record-breaking merch sales can't even meet its basic financial obligations? That's like throwing a massive party, bragging about the champagne. And meanwhile, the light's about to get shut off because you ain't paid the electric bill. It's not just about the bonuses either. Unrivaled's viewership numbers are embarrassingly low. Like, we're talking barely fill a high school gym low. Not trying to be petty, just being real. If you can't get people to watch the product, how are you suddenly moving merch like the NBA? The math simply does not add up. Let's say, for argument's sake, the jerseys did sell out. Cool. But if that was the case, if Unrivaled was really moving that kind of merch, where's the money? Why are players waiting on payments? Why are fans seeing no proof of widespread jersey shipments? Why is there zero evidence of a booming business? And here's the bigger picture. Leagues that are financially shaky often lean hard on hype over substance. They drop flashy headlines, limited merch runs, viral marketing stunts, not because they've made it, but because they're trying to fake it until they make it. It's the old look successful so people think you are move. And in this case, that 2-minute jersey sellout, especially across all players, feels like it was engineered not to move product, but to move perception. To make Unrivaled look like it's poppin', even when it's very clearly still fighting just to stay afloat. Because let's be real, if you can't pay your talent, but you've got press releases queued up about instant sellouts, that's not business. That's damage control dressed up as momentum. So now we're left with a league that's talking like it's on fire, but operating like it's barely holding on. And that makes this whole jersey stunt feel less like a win and more like a distraction. All right, so now that we've peeled back all the layers, the shady sellout timing, the missing social, proof the financial mess behind the scenes, it's time to ask the bigger question. What does this actually say about how success is being measured in women's basketball right now? Because let's be honest, we're watching a shift. It's not just about the game anymore. It's about the narrative, the perception, the headline. And this jersey stunt, it's the perfect example of how easy it is to manufacture hype in a world that eats up quick wins and viral moments. See, there's a big difference between organic growth and manufactured. Momentum, organic growth, that's when fans are genuinely tuning in. They're buying tickets, rocking merch, posting on socials because they care, not because someone told them to care. It's messy, it's slow, it's not always sexy, but it's real. Manufactured hype? That's when leagues and brands skip the grind and try to jump straight to the clout. They stage sellouts, pre-write the headlines, and pray nobody looks too closely. It looks shiny on the outside, but underneath it's shaky. It's performative. It's not built to last, and that's the problem here. Women's basketball has never been more visible, and that's a beautiful thing. Players, like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, they're finally getting the spotlight. But when leagues start pulling stunts like this to chase headlines, it risks undermining all that progress. Because if fans start feeling like they're being sold a story instead of shown the truth, that trust is hard to earn back. Nobody wants to feel like they're being manipulated, especially not the diehards who show up first, support hard, and try to elevate the game. And here's what's real. Angel Reese doesn't need marketing tricks to shine. The girl is a superstar already. But when her name gets wrapped up in something like this, It muddies the waters. It takes away from the real love she's earned and replaces it with question marks. So yeah, the jerseys might have sold out, but at what cost? Because if the goal is to build something authentic, something that lasts, then the hype has to be real. The support has to be real. The numbers, they gotta be earned, not orchestrated. And the more stuff like this happens, the harder it is for fans to trust what's real and what's a marketing illusion. So yeah, after looking at everything, the timing, the numbers, the missing receipts, the financial red flags, you gotta ask yourself, was this really a sellout? Or was this a setup? Because right now it's looking like Unrivaled didn't just sell a jersey, they sold a narrative. And that narrative, it's starting to fall apart the second you look past the headlines and into the actual facts. But hey, I wanna know what you think. Do you believe Angel Reese's jersey really sold out in 2 minutes? Do you think they just had a super small inventory and used it to create fake hype? Or do you think this is all being blown out of proportion? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Don't hold back. I'm reading every one of them, and I really want to see what y'all are thinking. And if you're into these kinds of deep dives where we don't just accept what's being fed to us, we actually break it down and ask the real questions. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Because trust me, there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to how these leagues are moving behind the scenes. Until next time, keep questioning the hype and keep it real.